All right, welcome back. We are moving on to some intermediate programming concepts here. We got video 5. We're going to start talking about timers in ladder logic. We're going to talk about the on delay, off delay, and retentive timers, and some practical applications of timers. All right, so here the next topic I really want to cover is the timers. There's three basic timers. There's the TON, the TOF, and the RTO. And basically what those are, the TON, it's a timer on, basically meaning whenever you energize the timer, it will begin to count. And there's some major parts to it. First is the addresses. The addresses are all in the T registers, T4 in particular. So you can see I have three different timers. One is assigned T4:0, the other one is T4:1, and the third one is T4:2. You have a time base. The default time base here is 1 second for timers, which is a little bit different. If you're familiar with like compact logics or control logics, those work in milliseconds, and you really cannot select the time base there. But here you can. But I'm just going with the default 1 second time base, meaning that when I enter a preset of 3, it's going to count up to 3 in a base of seconds, in seconds. All right, so you can see if I go over here and I toggle this bit, this timer begins to time. It's going up to 3 seconds. And when it does, you'll notice that the done bit comes on after 3 seconds, which then, this is the done bit from that timer, T40 done, and then that comes over to this coil. This is a latch coil, B305, and then that is latched on. Now, if I toggle the bit off, you'll notice that the done bit is off for the timer, and it's also no longer enabled. So it's now off. And again, this is a latch bit. I can toggle that back off. Well, a latch bit is a little bit different kind of coil. Once you trigger it, it stays latched until you have a corresponding unlatched coil to turn that off. The other type of timer is a timer off. And you can see T41. It's also a 5 second timer, but this one works a little bit differently. You'll notice when I toggle the bit, what happens? Nothing. The done bit is actually on by default as soon as you energize this. But it's a timer off, meaning that when I turn the input off to the timer, it will then begin to time and the done bit will actually turn off. So you can see how this timer works differently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the done bit turns off. So it's kind of the opposite of the timer on. The timer on, the done bit did not come on until I reached 3 seconds. For the timer off, the done bit does not turn off until after the 5 seconds is reached. And then the other type of timer here is called a retentive timer. And these timers are useful for where you have conditions that might be on and then back off, on and back off, and you want to be able to get an accumulated time value. So if I toggle this bit on really quickly and toggle it back off, you'll see that this timer already timed it to 2 seconds. But notice when I turn the bit off, the accumulated value did not go back to 0. It's still 2. It's saving that. For the other timers, if I go back to this timer on, notice what happens here. I toggle that on. It times out to 3 seconds. But I turn it off, and look at that. It's back to 0. It does not retain the accumulated time. That's the difference on the RTO timer. Now, if I go ahead and I toggle this bit back on for the retentive timer, it goes ahead and times out to 5 seconds, and I get the done bit. And I can turn that bit off that triggers the timer, and look at that. It's still on. The accumulated value is still at 5, and the done bit is on. The way that you want to clear a timer like this is using the reset. There's a reset instruction, and notice that it's assigned to T42. So if I go ahead and toggle the bit here, that triggers the reset, and it resets my timer. So that would be how you'd want to reset these. So these are basically just used for delays. Like if there's anything that you're doing in your logic where you want to have a delay, it's perfect for a timer. And a retentive timer could be used for something like, you want to track how many minutes something is run over a certain, time or period, and you just want to accumulate the amount of time that's gone by since whatever is in front of that timer has been on, that type of thing, if that makes sense. So those are just some of the uses for the timers. And I think next we'll probably get into counters, but basically you've got the timer on, the timer off, the retentive timer, and then you have the reset.